It's kind of hilarious that of all characters, Rin would call Naofumi a cheater when his voice actor is Kirito from Sword Art Online. Now, FYI, if you don't understand what I mean by this, is that in SAO, Kirito was actually given the title cheater/beater, and that happened on the first episode or the beginning of the light novel. So it's kind of funny that of all characters, Rin, the voice of Kirito, would say Naofumi is a cheater. It's kind of ironic in a way. But okay, can we talk about how Naofumi is like 20 to 25 levels underneath the sword hero, the spear hero, and the bow hero, but he had to go in and actually step up and fight basically the mini boss right before the final boss? Like, can we talk about that, how he had to step up and do that? That stuff right there, I feel that. I legitimately feel that. As a gamer, as someone that loves to play support/tank, I feel that so much in that moment when Naofumi, the underleveled boy, has to go up against basically a max level boy, and he has to struggle because his DPS can't do any damage at all. That's hilarious, because that stuff happens all the time in MOBAs. It does, where the support/tank has to go in and actually do DPS alongside of tanking because the DPS sucks so bad and they can't get their act together. That right there, that Naofumi, he's living that struggle life. He's living the legit struggle/gamer life, support life in that moment of this episode, because facing an opponent that is like 10 plus levels over him and everybody else is over leveled this opponent, I'm like, why aren't you able to defeat him like that? I'm just like, what's really going on here? But okay, all jokes aside though, Naofumi, I loved his Rage Shield design. Now, we've already seen his design before in the previous episodes, but his design got a little bit of an upgrade. Since consuming the Dragon Crystal, the Dragon Soul, his armor, or his Rage Shield got an upgrade to where his armor just looked more, draconic. And I love that design. Like, okay, call me a sucker, call me cliche, or someone that just likes stereotypical designs, but I love dragon designs. I'm a big fan of, like, armor-like plating and all that kind of looks like blackened, like dragons. I've always been a fan of that. And so seeing Naofumi's, like, armor kind of get this dragon look to it, and when you see the flames come off, I'm like, yo, that's cool. And I love the scene where he's using the Iron Maiden, and he closes his fist, and it just consumes the, the enemy, and he defeats it. That right there is a great moment, because I am a sucker for characters closing their fist when they finish an attack. I mentioned this on Twitter, and I'm gonna say it here. Just, there's something so cool about it. I love it. I loved it in Naruto, like, for instance, with Gaara when he used the sand coffin. I love it with Naofumi doing this, and I love it when, Ainz from Overlord does, his fist when he's just, like, squeezing, he just ends someone. I love when a character closes their fist to finish an attack. I don't know, just something about it just really just gives off this aura of an epic, I can't say the word because YouTube wouldn't like it, but it starts with a B, and I love that design of it. I just love that character motion when I see it in a show. But yeah, Naofumi's new form, his Rage Shield, is very powerful. Now, he was able to actually control it a lot better than he did the previous time because he knew what to expect. See, when he activated Rage Shield before, and he accidentally hurt Raftalia, and he went up against the dragon, the point was, though, he had really no idea how it worked, and when he did activate it, it went crazy. He let the anger/wrath of the world consume him, and he wasn't really able to use it right. And thankfully, after now knowing how the ability works after the experimentation he had episodes ago, he was able to somewhat control the anger thanks to Raftalia in his mind, but, popping up. He was able to control it to be able to do enough damage to take down the opponent. So, I appreciate how Naofumi is slowly controlling his anger, his wrath. And I think this is a big step for his character, because one of the things that the Rage Shield tries to show us is that this is kind of how Naofumi is inside of him. Like, his very core, his being, we know he's an angry man. We know, thanks to what happened to him in the first episode and the second episode, that he is someone that is consumed by anger and hatred towards those that did him wrong. And with him being able to kind of quell that and push it down, it basically proves that he's slowly being able to kind of look past it or just not let it get to him as bad as it did in the beginning of the story, which means he's changing as a person, and maybe one day he will open up his eyes and realize that there's more to this world than just angry or hateful people that just want to destroy you. There could be, people that are actually good, that opens your eyes up and lets you realize that the world is just and it isn't that bad of a place. So this is kind of what that scene was showing, is that Naofumi, he's no longer clouded by his anger. Now, okay, so with all that out of the way, I do want to talk about the actual wave and what happened within it. So Naofumi, he was able to be a lot more efficient / effective on the battlefield this time, because he kind of knew what to expect. Like, he didn't know what enemies they were going to fight or anything, but he knew that there was going to be a lot of danger, and there was going to definitely be civilians tied up in the whole process. So since the very beginning, like after the first wave and all that, he's been stocking up medicine, potions to heal people on the battlefield. And it's something so amazing and crucial that I gotta compliment the man for, because that's something that you think the other heroes would do, but obviously they have not. They're very incompetent / selfish. And Naofumi has been going around trading stuff and, getting money. This allowed him to be able to get better medicine to be able to supply it to the civilians so nobody dies. And it's like what I said when the first wave happened. Even if they defeat the wave, it doesn't change the fact that it's still bad. Like, there's an aftermath after the wave. Like, the civilians still have to get back up and start repairing the town, the fields, the farms, all that, because you gotta imagine all the fighting has to, ruin their crops, the livestock, everything, and they gotta rebuild, and that's not counting the lives lost on top of that. And so, even though society technically can be rebuilt as long as if they still have their lives, it doesn't change the fact that it will take a long time to repair the damage that these waves cause. And so Naofumi kind of prepping and at the very least keeping the civilians safe and healing them, it allows them to be able to rebuild quicker than normal, and it won't be as bad as how the first wave was. And that's something, once again, that the spear hero, the sword hero, and the bow hero hasn't really came to terms with, is that the longer they draw out these fights and they don't take out the boss, the more damage that will happen. Because right now, even though Naofumi got all the civilians out of harm's way, it still does not change the fact that the field and the land and all that's getting devastated by the wave, which means that it's going to be a lot harder to fix it, like I already said. So that is why Naofumi went out of his way to go to the boss, because the longer they take, the worse off they're all going to be. Or at the very least, the people that are still in this world when they finally leave and go back to their original world. Now, looking into the boss. Now, the boss overall, it's a very typical boss. With the way you see it, shown throughout the episode, it's a boss that is on a ship, a pirate ship, skeletons and all that, with a pirate captain, and at first glance, when you actually probably get on the ship, if you're a gamer or whatever, a hero, you would assume take out the captain. You take out the captain, then that would mean that the ship would go down. That's what you would assume. But, see, here's the thing where Rin wasn't able to kind of comprehend. When he killed the skeleton captain and it came back, instantly as a gamer, myself, if something like that happened, I'd be like, okay, so this dude is tied to the ship. That would be the first thing I would think of. So we need to harm the ship, take down the ship, because obviously the skeleton captain is tied to it, so you get rid of the ship, then obviously the skeletons will probably despawn. Now, if that did not work, I would assume there has to be some form of core, something that is giving these creatures life, reanimating them, and so you would have to find that out, where the core is of the ship or whatever, and it's clear as day that these individual heroes, like the spear hero, sword hero, and bow hero, are not really that good of gamers, because if they were good gamers like they assume they are, then they would have known that after killing a skeleton captain 2 to 3 times or even 10 times, that there's something going on here. And if the boss isn't spawning, you're obviously doing something very wrong. You need to change tactics instead of doing the exact same thing. You want to know what the definition of insanity is? Doing the exact same thing over and over again, trying to expect a different result. That's what they were doing. They were trying to do the exact same thing when nothing being changed whatsoever. Like, really? And you think this is okay. Now, anyways, Rin as an individual, even though I'm kind of putting him down, he definitely has impressed me. He is definitely the most likable out of all the other heroes. Like, not counting Naofumi, obviously. He is probably the most likable, because he has acknowledged his mistakes. You even see in this episode that he acknowledges that, he needs to stop treating this world like a game. He admits that to Naofumi, and that's a good thing. That's progression with his character. The only thing I really see that's wrong with his character at this time is that he's someone that's a little bit naive. naive, and he's someone that's just so young, he doesn't really comprehend, you know, the dire situation that they're currently in, and I feel like with time, he will slowly learn and become a better person. So, Rin is a really redeemable character, and I do like his character, and I'm glad that he's gotten a little bit more focus. He made a mistake, obviously, with the dragon, not finishing it off, but at the same time, though, he has made steps to improve himself to where he doesn't make that exact same mistake. He wants to make sure that the opponent is finished off. Now, when it comes to the bow hero, in a lot of ways is very unlikable. You can see that he, like I said in my last episode review, he has the capacity to change because he does realize he made a mistake, but he's so stubborn that he just does not want to admit it, and that's basically what he does once again in this episode. He just doesn't want to work with the, you know, shield hero Naofumi just because of his stubborn nature, even though he knows Naofumi is correct. And when he's agreeing with the spear hero and all that, how he doesn't really want to work with Naofumi, you know, I'm just like, really, man? Like, I know you're stubborn, you know you made a mistake, but you're so stubborn you just don't want to admit it. That's honestly, in a way, I don't like the bow hero. I dislike the bow hero more than the spear hero, Motoyasu, because at the very least, Motoyasu, he's incompetent. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He's just so dumb, he has no idea how many problems he's creating. But when it comes to the bow hero, he's very aware, but he's letting his own pride/stubborn nature get in front of what really matters. So, they're bad in their own ways, equally bad, but I think I dislike the bow hero more. Now, when it comes to the spear hero, the man was like, why should I help this man take out the boss? I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, are you that dumb? Like, don't answer that. I know he's dumb. But I'm just like, dude, this wave is causing problems in the world. You need to take down the boss to stop the wave. Now, this is before we actually found out that there was more to this fight, and there is a final boss called Glass that was introduced, but it doesn't change the fact that him delaying and not wanting help because of his own hatred towards the shield hero Naofumi is so stupid, I don't even know what to say. And, okay, so let's talk about Glass for a second. So, the character at the end that's introduced, this female character, love the design, very simplistic, love the design. It's very obvious that this boss fight is going to be incredibly challenging because, number one, this isn't just a regular fight. It's not like going up against a skeleton captain that doesn't really have a lot of sentience or like a regular NPC. It's clear as day that this, character called Glass is very intelligent because this person named themselves, but also is definitely not acting like a typical, monster. So most likely this character is probably someone really important to why these waves even started in the first place. For instance, probably affiliated with the main ringleaders, maybe even the main ringleader of the waves, and why they even happened to begin with. And so I feel like this is going to be a challenging fight. It's not going to be easy to be able to take down this opponent, and it's probably going to require every single individual to step up and fight just to be able to put a stop to Glass. Which, by the way, I find it interesting that even though this is obviously a final boss, Glasses of this wave, Glass did compliment the shield hero. It's like, you're truly the only hero a part of this right now. The only hero and, person I would recommend to say you're an amazing person. And so, I love that. That's justice for Naofumi. Basically hearing those words that the spear, bow, and sword hero are incompetent and they're not really considered heroes, while Naofumi, someone that's completely underleveled, was able to fight a boss and, take it out and put aside his differences. That says a lot. And oh yeah, that also says a lot about Naofumi too, because he set aside his differences to be able to help out and just save the villagers, and he has a lot of rights not to really like these heroes and work with them, but he did regardless because of just how he wants to save the civilians. So, Glass saying stuff like that makes perfect sense, and I feel like it's going to be a very interesting fight next week. I'm kind of curious. I wonder how the animation's going to be, and the events of it. Are they going to be able to bring this opponent down? So, is there anything else really to talk about? I guess, oh yeah, let's talk about the Rage Shield for a second. There's a little detail I didn't finish, and that is that when Naofumi used his Rage Shield, you had it to where Philo was consumed by rage as well. Now, it's kind of obvious the reason why, is because Philo got, the claws or whatever made from the Dragon Soul, so most likely since the Dragon Soul is still connected to the soul that was used in Naofumi's armor when he used the Rage Shield, that is probably why Philo was affected. But, on the off chance, if Rage Shield continues to grow, there's a possibility it might apply a buff effect to Naofumi's entire party. That's kind of scary in a way, because if Naofumi can kind of control his Rage Shield, he could buff everybody's DPS and all that for they could just do a hell of a lot of damage, because, I mean, look at what Naofumi did. You had that to Philo and Raftalia, the Rage Shield, proc. I'll be like, yo, that would be definitely a very powerful ability to have, and I wonder if that's kind of what it's being hinted at, is that if Naofumi continues to use it, that he will be able to apply this buff to his entire party, instead of just, let's say, Philo and himself. But I think that's about it. I think I want to end this video here, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like, and if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below, and with that, Chibi out.